the global MEGAFist 12. It is, in fact, where it all comes to an end this evening. This is episode 17. This is the grand finale. We are aboard the ATSA paddle, and we have been on this vessel, this riverboat, once at port in Branson, Missouri. And we don't know where we are right now, and this is our floating prison that cares not and knows not of what it has brought. My name is Derek Osceola. I'm joined by Lucille Crammelcorn. Michael Leander, we learned from our last episode, has been cage-side, but at the Nougaty Center. So nowhere near where we are that we think. Lucille, I can't believe we've made it to this point.
Yeah, it's. I think it's almost over. I don't know what the future will hold once the last fight happens. If we have to continue living on the ATSA paddling, I don't even know if there's any kind of a riot that we could hold that could change anything. But this is our life, so yeah. I'm here for the fights, Derek. I'm here for the fights.
Yeah, that's kind of the mantra we have to tell ourselves, because otherwise this would be a choice, and it is not, in fact, a choice. Yeah, well, let's get to it, because we have so many fights to cover. We are, in fact, a 9-fight card tonight, and it is, well, we're just going to run through it in order. We have 6 survival fights. We have 3 title fights. The lightweights are going to get us started. Ruben Fondant finished 5th place in his group this year. He made it out of the potential automatic relegation spot. He's got to fight for his spot. He takes on Harvey Murkoff. Of course, we'll get into that. Of course, Harvey Murkoff, one of 2 that made his way through the second chance of the Hyperfist. And, of course, the other survival fight, McGinnis Swordhouse, a fighter that was doing really well in last year's tournament, found himself in 5th place. He takes on Preston Groom. Again, these are fights where the winner will take the spot in next year's tournament. But most importantly, capping it off, is this fight, defending champion of 2019, J.C. Switcher, takes on Charlie Valentine for the lightweight championship here in 2020. This is not the first time. This is not even the second time these two have done battle. This is not even the first time they've done battle in this calendar year, Lucille. 2 fighters who know each other, 2 of the top fighters in the lightweight division.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting how things shake out with so much cage experience, so much cage time with with the same opponent. Are you going to be able to find the one little wrinkle that you can exploit for victory? I mean, that's going to be a great fight. I am really looking forward to Valentine and Switcher throwing down yet again, and hopefully it keeps happening year after year, but not on a riverboat anymore. I don't want more.
Well, they both have found themselves in the group stages, in the same group in both years, hence why they have fought twice. And we'll get to more of that later when we talk about that as it happens. Moving over to the middleweight division, Thaddeus Rose taking on the Tumor of Justice. The Tumor of Justice, last year's finalist, now finds himself in 5th place. And he takes on Rose, who is going to be making his way, who's trying to make his way up from the Hyperfist. And the second chance bracket, the other fight in that one, Blue Drummond, his first year in the Hyperfist. He went all the way to the finals, lost, and then went through the second chance. Takes on Paranorman, our host, a fighter who was doing really well last year and just missed out on the playoffs. But of course, our middleweight final, a debutante, Ed Picayune, coming all the way up from the Hyperfist last year to take on Leon Pagliacci, one of 2 fighters we can say so far this year at 6-0, has not tasted defeat. Lucille, these two have also fought this year already. The winner on that one was Pagliacci by a thin margin of decision. They'll do it again. They might have a different result.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Picayune in the Hyperfist, he was, he won that. He was the only man to defeat 3 Ezekiel subset alpha. He's got another dangerous undefeated opponent in front of him. I think he's got all the skills in the world to get the job done tonight, but 2020, it's been a sick and twisted joke, and
yes,
it would be fitting if the sad clown man were to come out on top and be victorious for 2020. I think that would be, the storybook ending, I guess, for 2020 for the sad clown to finish this year, this horrible year.
It weirdly fitting, yes. And I say that with zero bias. I think Leon Pagliacci is a fantastic fighter. I don't want to begrudge him, but yes, there would be some weird apropos nature to that. We move over to the heavyweights who will headline tonight. Grant Claydo had a struggle in last year's Hyperfist. He's made his way through to take on Gabe Donaghy in our first survival fight, followed up by Damian Adder taking on the man known as Dr. Cardio Van Hart. But we conclude 2020's Global Megafist 12 with this fight. One that, Lucille, I don't think any of us could have predicted from the start of this. Wanderin' Mo Volt against Oliver Lehman. I don't think that is the matchup that any of us would have predicted from the onset. And we are looking at it right here. And we're looking at it with Oliver Lehman undefeated, 6-0 this year. Potentially, we're not calling it a sure thing that he's going to win because of how Wanderin' Mo Volt has been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Wanderin' Mo Volt, I guess, on the flip side to, a guy like the Tumor of Justice, who last year was, basically setting the division on fire, is now in a survival fight. Wanderin' Mo Volt last year was average at best, but he has really, got a spark lit under him, and 4-2 record, just putting people away that, he's got a lot of upset wins under his belt for 2020.
Yeah.
Oliver Lehman, you could almost pencil him in every year, at least for the playoffs, if not making it all the way to the finals. I mean, that guy, he's big, he's strong, he is a devastating power puncher. And I guess again, 2020, it's been rough financially for a lot of folks, and the foreclosure expert coming out on top, I guess, would be another fitting result if the odds were to be correct in Oliver Lehman getting the heavyweight crown.
Yeah, it would be strangely appropriate. I would have to agree with you on that one, Lucille. But that is our main event tonight. We cannot wait. We've got 9 great fights. So much is on the line in every single fight. And for one more time, these are the rules. 3 rounds. All of our fights tonight, 3 rounds of 2.5 minutes. It's 150 seconds, counting down in the lower left corner of your screen. 10-point must scoring system is in effect. The round winner getting 10, his opponent getting 9 or less. As always, the rules: no to the groin, no hitting the back of the head, and no one gets paid. And our judges are scoring the fight. If any of them will go to a decision, our judges will score the fight based on aggression, damage, control, and look, they apparently are just going to actually try at this point. So I give them credit where credit is due as far as that goes. That being said, I think we are about to get things started, and that is, there we have it. There it is. There is our first fight. Harvey Murkoff versus Ruben Fondant. And that fight is happening right now.
9. First the hand. There you go.
Head movement. Mix it up. Mix it up with your punching.
Let little kicks go. Press forward.
Hands up. Hands up.
Little feints. Little feints.
Land that right hard.
He has no answer.
2, 3.
Come on, pummel inside. Work your possession here.
Get him backing up and make him pay. Behind it. Body shots when you're in that tight. Keep going.
Nice, nice. Do it again.
3.5. Look down, then go upstairs. You're going for the kick.
Circle.
Don't chase him.
He won't come forward. I want 2, 9.
Punch and then move.
A couple jabs if he's backing up.
Let your hands go.
1, 1, 2, 9.
3 outside hard. Liver to overhead. Use your face. Throw.
He won't come forward. Stand in the middle.
Hands up, chin down. Stay standing. Feet to the left. Heavy, heavy.
Try to get a takedown if you can.
Control the clinch. Back him up. Back him up. Feints. Feints.
Take it and throw the 2.
Don't spin.
That's it. Don't. No doubt about that. Well, we have our second fight for survival. Preston Broom, the Guinness Swordhouse. That one's happening right now. Second fight. Apologies if we had any sort of audio issues. Again, it's a hellish landscape in which we live here on the Austin Paddle. We don't know what sort of sound we are sending out with Swordhouse,
You ready?
I guess he liked when we had turkey legs at the buffet, which
Let's fight!
I think that happened once. I don't know. Every day kind of bleeds together.
Go that left, right down the
That
middle.
being said, Preston Groom is an animal wrangler. Claims that he loved the exotic wildlife. I don't know about you, but I don't believe anyone has left this ship. Nor do I have any sort of reports of any sort of animals that have made it onto the ship.
That's it.
I mean, I saw a bird one of the few times I got, you know, above decks and looked out.
Double jab, straight hook. Let's go.
But shortly after that, I saw people, and I got really sad about not being able to, you know, get off this boat, so I didn't go out above decks anymore.
Yeah, it's natural.
You keep going till something opens.
Is limited really to whatever
There you go, nice.
slightly comes through the vents between the shade and where I'm
we go.
sleeping. And that was said. So Preston Groom, animal rank. We'll have to take his word for it. I'm sure he wouldn't embellish upon something like that. Taking on Beginner's Swordhouse, who you know, we were talking about this as well. You were saying that it's kind of a surprise that Beginner's Swordhouse, someone who's fallen off from his form in last year. Last year, I was looking it up. I have my notes in front of me. Last year, he was 3-2. He just missed out on the semifinals by a tiebreaker. Now he's fighting for survival in the Global MEGAFist 12 tournament.
That's it.
That's I mean, 2019 going into 2020 has been tough on a lot of people, and you know, Swordhouse is definitely one of them.
Well, no Ren fairs this year. I know that's the thing that, I mean, again, he wouldn't be able to go on one because he's on a ship, but I guess you have to get your kicks some other way.
There we go.
Meanwhile, Groom went
Stop.
for two, and he's going to
It's
just put
over.
it into it. Oh, my goodness.
Big shots from on top. Groom puts Swordhouse away.
Wow.
My gosh.
Well, Preston Groom joins Harvey Murkoff in next year's Global MEGAFist 12. And of course, the two of them join Chip Crocker and Aldi Albertson in the Global MEGAFist 12 group stage. He finishes with a TKO, an emphatic TKO, and he takes out Beginner's Swordhouse. Preston Groom, you want to talk about how it was a change of fortune for Swordhouse. Groom went 0-2 in the Hyperfist and went out at the earliest possible point. He lost his first round fight in the Hyperfist this year, went back and won 4 straight fights. That is a man who figured out what was going wrong and must have sorted it out.
Yeah, that is incredible that he has turned things around so much.
No doubt about it. Well, we are going to get to the first of 3 main events tonight. It is the lightweight finals of the 2020 Global MEGAFist 12. Charlie Valentine taking on the 2019 champion, JC Switcher.
Looking tight, and he hits the tap.
Wow! Hammer fist right to the nose, and he is beating him senseless. The 2019 lightweight champion of the Global MEGAFist 12, JC Switcher, takes on a Charlie Valentine.
He's got a chance to get revenge against not only the man that kept him out of the playoffs, but won the whole thing. So.
JC Switcher got a decision.
Let's go, guys,
win
fight.
in the very first fight of 2020
Hands up!
over Charlie Valentine.
Incoming fight.
He's getting too
And
comfortable.
last year, in the very last group stage fight, it was JC Switcher who beat Charlie Valentine via decision. And that was what gave JC Switcher the spot in the semifinals, which he ultimately went on to win the whole thing.
Yes.
Charlie Valentine has made it all the way to the finals this year, and we're seeing just a renewed spirit and a tough opponent. You know, took out Walter Birch, who's one of the most dominant fighters in the lightweight division. Meanwhile, JC Switcher took out Miroslav Florislav. There's so much. I mean, there's just so much to go through in this one, and we see Valentine go for his first submission attempt.
Yeah, he's going to want to keep the fight on the ground against Switcher. Switcher's just such a good stand-up fighter, but
Stay tight in
that
there.
being said, he's going for both arms here, Kimura's. But you know,
Why not?
he should really look to sweep the position and end up on top of Switcher. Just you know, a lot of judges are unfamiliar with grappling, so it's tough to look like you're winning if a judge doesn't know what winning on the bottom looks like.
We don't really ever know necessarily, and then we see the Switcher basically saying "get up" after again another knee. Oh man, well he's clearly scouted those double legs. That is, I think some of the more there are some very famous knockouts in mixed martial arts history that sort of end fights that way, where a grappler goes for a double leg, a well-placed knee, and he's unconscious.
Yeah, it's a lot of force meeting force, and you know the knee is gonna beat the brain just about every time.
Yeah, I remember one of the, and this is an absolute true story. One of the ways I've heard of a knee strike described is it hits like a fist, but if the entire fist was just one knuckle.
Drop the elbow.
And that's kind of weird to say that, but you think of it, it's a knee joint, and it actually, like, it makes sense, and it also sounds creepy at the same time, but it's just the knee bone and that point just making contact. It's all in that one point of contact. It's not like it's spreading across your knuckles or anything like that.
Okay.
And it's got your entire body behind it. It's just
Push the pace. Push the pace.
That's why we love it here.
Good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's unlike a fist. There's no padding. I mean, the 4-ounce gloves don't protect much with a punch, but the knee is completely bare, and you know, depending on the build of the fighter, it's got a lot of hefty thigh meat to force it up and into the point of the chin or the face.
Yeah, it's probably one.
And,
It could easily be one of the most deadly and devastating attacks in mixed martial arts if you really think about it from that point. I mean, again, you know, they compare a roundhouse kick to like swinging a baseball bat, but a knee is just so well placed and can just crush like that. It's tough to decide who to give the round to. I almost want to give it to Switcher because those strikes, but they were also counters.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I mean, he did drop
go, guys,
Valentine
fight.
a couple of times with those knees, and with, I believe an uppercut defending off a takedown. Valentine had 2 submission attempts, which didn't really get that close to finishing. It's a tough one to score. I would maybe give it to Switcher based on damage, because Valentine has a bit of a cut forming under his eye.
Work that wrist control.
Yeah, you can see that. I would imagine that's either from the knee or from the uppercut. Those look like the biggest strikes, but we see. Well, he gives up. I was gonna say he gives up the mounted position to go for an arm triangle. Well, again, you were saying fighting from the bottom may not be something the judges will notice, but it's kind of hard to not notice a man just straight up trying to strangle someone until they're unconscious.
Yes.
So I think Valentine may have
There it is.
decided he needs to rush things a little bit.
Combos now.
Yeah. Oh, another
Again.
big knockdown.
Tap, go.
He just knows
No,
what to
come on,
look
what
for.
meaning?
It's almost like Valentine is a bit too predictable.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we talk about Switcher having excellent timing, just, you know, another big knee up the middle. I don't know if he has any kind of formal degree or training in, biomechanical sciences or the movement of bodies, but being a living mannequin in a store all day, he sees people, how they move, how their body works, and I think he can just read a lot of intentions, especially a guy like Valentine, who he shared, so much cage time with already.
Yeah, they've gone the distance in both of their fights, and they're already past the halfway point of this. We're 41 seconds left in the second round of a possible 3 for the 2020 Global MEGAFist 12 Lightweight Championship. That's a very good point. That again, JC Switcher, a living mannequin, a man who just stands in a store front or a store window or on display, and just sort of stands there. Modeling clothes. Yeah. So again, we talk so much about how that allows the stamina you probably get from that. The strength of holding a position like that. It's almost like yoga where it strengthens your core. His balance from that, and you've got to be right. He's probably to spend a lot of time thinking and watching. So when you have something like the Global MEGAFist 12, because we got to the end of round 2,
Right? You feel him open that guard. Bring out that combat knee. Get yourself. Okay?
Again,
you start working. You start working that knee.
You got to punish him
on
there.
this ship, we
Breathe.
just
All right.
have a lot of
Go
time
to the
to
body
think.
and press him back. Breathe.
Maybe that's
I want
also
4s and
something
5s
that's
with the
not
punches now, all right?
new
We
or
can't hold
jarring
back
for
now.
JC Switcher.
Cannot hold back. Breathe. Give me a
Absolutely,
couple
I
of
can't
deep breaths.
imagine
More important to go out there normal.
He can deal with boredom well, I'm sure, and he is so patient. He hardly ever rushes into anything. He's not, he might crash in when the time is right, but he's not going to be rushing every single moment of a fight. He is going to pick and choose his shots when they're appropriate, and I mean, we see these knockdowns he is landing. It's impressive that Valentine has survived, and it's no offense to the 2 survival fights in lightweight, but I am glad we're coming in the 3rd round for our championship fight.
Are you ready?
It would feel almost as if we were, short-shifted if this ended early. This fight.
It's great. It's been excellent. You have to maybe feel that Switcher is winning. You could give that last round a toss-up maybe to Valentine. It could be all on this round, whether it goes to that was something I was not expecting, is JC Switcher taking the back of the submission expert Charlie Valentine. I was not anticipating that one bit.
That was incredible how he got that takedown. I mean, Valentine was going for sort of a judo style trip, and Switcher just saw it coming and countered it and threw Valentine, face planted him and then just jumped on his back. That was
wow. Yeah,
that was incredible.
Again, timing and seeing opportunity. However, he's giving up the mount. The mount is in Valentine. He strikes hard and he strikes fiercely. And he is just trying to pin in JC Switcher. This is perhaps the most danger we've seen Switcher in. As far as I can remember, he does have one loss in this tournament. And that was a submission loss to Snooter Magnum. But this is, I think, more danger than we've seen him in any fight. This is, I mean, you can always say, this is the 9th round for these 2 fighters.
Yeah, I mean, Valentine is finally getting some good offense here in this 3rd round. He's got to stay on top. He's got to land ground and pound unless he can, definitively get a submission to end this, because I think Switcher could have taken the first 2. It's going to take a lot from Valentine in this one to push the tide in his favor.
Yeah, and again, mentally, when you've lost both fights to this man by decision, you're almost telling yourself, I absolutely need to get a finish. He's got 30 seconds and a triangle locked in. Could this be it?
Oh my gosh, he's
so many
pull down
demons.
on that head. Can he? Oh, Switcher is
gets out of it and gets into mount. So again, this could just be exhaustion. This should just be the entire tank just being emptied out in these final 10 seconds. If a finish comes, it'll be definitely a surprise at this point. But oh goodness me, pulls him down, and we go to the judges' scorecards. 9 complete rounds between these 2 fighters. History is on the side of Switcher. Has he done enough to be a back-to-back tournament champion?
I gotta feel like Valentine was suffering physical and mental exhaustion. Once Switcher got out of that triangle, it looked like Valentine was defeated. He was like, he gave up Mount so easily. Yeah. What a great fight, though.
That was the last gasp. We have a decision pending. And we're going to find out who will be our tournament champion. It's Switcher. Judges have gone to JC Switcher. I got to say, I didn't feel like surprised when you think about the fight. It could have gone either way. It was ever so close. He now goes 3-0 over Charlie Valentine and is now a two-time Global MEGAFist 12 champion.
Oh my God. And you know, Derek, it's fights like that that makes you forget, at least for a little while, that you've been stuck on a riverboat for I don't even know how long, because time has lost all meaning, but those are the kind of fights you look forward to.
Well, we are only getting started because we only have the lightweight championship decided. Coming up next, it's the middleweight's turn, starting with two big survival fights. Thaddeus Rose comes up from the Hyperfist to take on one of last year's finalist, the Tumor of Justice. That fight is happening right now. The tail on the tape for our fourth fight. Thaddeus Rose. Height advantage, reach advantage over the Tumor of Justice. I guess Thaddeus Rose did a workshop. Nothing I knew about. Shakespeare is not something I'm very well versed in, to be fair. I also don't know how Tumor of Justice was a boat hero, but again, for the most part, I just sort of stay in my room.
Let's go, guys. Fight.
Or call fights. So it seems a lot of fighters are making the most of their time here on the Outs of Paddling.
Yeah, I did not hear anything about a Shakespearean or an actor's or a thespian's workshop, nor did I hear anything that required the services of a boat hero. So.
Yeah, boat heroics are not something I really necessarily know about, and I feel like I would have heard about something that required, again, like you said, the necessity of a boat hero, but I will say, yeah, this is...
I guess the worry is that maybe the fighters are avoiding us for some reason, which would be disappointing. I mean, we have mentioned some of them are just bizarre to talk to, and maybe they feel the same way about us. I don't know.
I mean, again, that much time spent on a ship. you know, again, to be fair, we also spent a lot of time just in our rooms
You gotta fight for our underhook.
contemplating
Absolutely.
life and the fragility of it therein. So maybe we are just missing out. Maybe if we weren't out and away from the public, we'd be knowing about this. But again, it seems that we've missed quite a bit happening on this hell vessel. But what we are seeing is the Tumor of Justice putting in a submission attempt, an armbar, and this is a go-to for the Tumor of Justice.
Absolutely, he's one of the best guys at submissions in the Global MEGAFist.
Watch the arm triangle.
But it looks like Thaddeus Rose
Wow.
is trying to prove his merits in that field as well. He's going for an arm triangle.
Yeah, Thaddeus Rose, his fights
There we go.
in the all of his wins, if I recall, all of his wins in the Hyper Fist were via submission. His only loss was to Patricio Avenal in the semifinals via decision. He actually went back to avenge that loss in the final elimination bracket fight, where he defeated him by a second-round submission. So, again, we're seeing two styles that are very clearly similar, and we're seeing a leg, some sort of leg lock. Is that a heel hook, or is that, I can't quite see which one that is, Lucille, but the Tumor of
believe
Justice
it
is
is
going
a-
for it.
Heel hook.
Time. Stop.
Oh,
time,
time
guys.
just expired on him.
Wow. Yeah, it's hard to say if that was something that he had a chance to
on the
land,
ground, you can
or
catch
if
him all day
it
long in that
just
triangle
was
and that armbar. You can catch him all day long in it.
something he was going for. But again, the
got it
clock
all
may
day
or
long.
may not have saved Thaddeus Rose.
All you need to
It
do is score.
certainly
You
will
score
get
with
the
that
fight
kick.
back at a
Gets that back,
50-50
you fight that
standing
2-on-1. If he
position.
gets that body lock,
Once
you gotta
more.
fight it off.
Even first
swing that arm
round,
over.
our first
Swing that arm over.
survival fight to go to a second round, and pretty evenly matched, I must say.
Yeah, both guys seem to be pretty well versed in terms of grappling. That might affect things going into round two. Maybe someone's going to look to keep the fight standing a little bit more. And, you know, both guys are very capable of landing a submission. So, you know, the other might
Don't
not want
vary
to even
from the
risk
game
it.
plan. Are you
and
paying attention to me?
do their
Don't vary
best
from-
Are you ready?
to make this
Are you ready?
kickboxing bout instead.
Yeah, 100%. Again, you know, it's really hard to say. I don't really.
Let's go, guys, fight.
See if I've seen any. If the Tumor of Justice
Come on,
really
baby, 1-2.
scored any sort of
you go,
knockout
nice.
victories. He only went 1-4 this year. His only win was
keep
a
going till
submission
something
over
opens.
Jerome Glorioso, who was ultimately relegated.
There it is.
But last
Watch for him
year,
to grab your legs.
he went 4-1 with 21
Use the
points.
elbows.
And yeah, it was just submission after submission. And he's going right back to the well. His only non-submission win last year was a decision in the semifinals to Chet Lama.
Tap him out.
Again, you know, but that's the thing, you know, we're
No
we're
respect,
seeing a
son.
fighter
Women
who
drop
just
the
is having a bad
elbows.
2020 compared to how well he did last year. So we know the talent is there.
Don't burn everything.
So that
Oh,
perhaps that's why this is such an evenly matched fight.
Yeah, you know, Tumor of Justice might have, you know, had some more time to rethink, replan some things, and is, you know, coming out looking like his old self here in this fight.
No doubt about that. I think
Game plan, buddy.
it's a good thing to see.
Yep.
It is 100% a good thing to see. And you know, we really want to see the Tumor of Justice do well, whether that means he is in the Global MEGAFist 12 or in the Hyper Fist
Make him work harder
next
than
year.
you.
And he's going for again. He's just you know, Thaddeus Rose is similarly just as talented in submissions, but he's just being overmatched and overpowered. He's going for a triangle right now. It just feels like the busier fighter is the Tumor of Justice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
That's it, baby.
you know, both
There we
guys
go.
can run the risk of, you know, gassing out their
Come here for 1
arms,
minute,
going
baby.
for these
Watch it,
submissions.
Kimura.
He's got an odd angle on this Kimura. I don't know
Yeah,
if
he does, but it's about
Atta boy.
go off from there and gets the back to mount. That's the thing with some of these submissions. You just sort of you give up the potential. You give up a good position.
Take it.
Absolutely. If you can't get
Yeah,
it,
if you can't
you have
sink
to
it in.
you have to have a backup plan of how to recover, you know, as opposed to just giving up a advantageous position to your
Hands
opponent.
up. Hands up!
Time. Stop. Time, guys.
It's a very good high-level grappling fight from these two.
Good? Okay, he's tired.
Complete mystery as to who the judges might be marking things down for. These were two very close
5 minutes of hell,
rounds.
tighten your punches up. The uppercut is there all day, but you gotta bring something behind.
He gets that back, you fight that 2-on-1. If he gets that body lock, you gotta fight it off.
What we're looking at right now is a
Swim
third
that arm
round
over, okay?
where the
Swim that arm
winner
over.
will be in next year's Global MEGAFist 12 group stage. They will join. Well, we have Vincenzo the Goose Thompson and the Impossible Robbie Cheadle joining us at middleweight. It will be either the Tumor of Justice or Thaddeus Rose, and it will be Paranorman, our host, or Blue Drummond, our next fight.
Finish this fight. Get it
You
over
know,
with.
that's
He
the
is
thing. We
not-
have
Are you ready?
4 brand new fighters joining the lightweights next year because of the way the two
Let's go, guys.
rival
Fight.
fights went. It's just such an influx of new talent and new matchups, and it's
Nice, nice.
it really just throws a complete
There you go,
spin
beautiful.
on the tournament, so it really is. It's great. You know, we only had 2 new fighters
There you go,
join
nice.
each. Now there's the potential of up to 4.
Yeah, and
Move it.
you know, and we've seen these Hyperfist guys are, you know, at least last year the ones that joined were really solid.
Perfect.
And you know, no offense to some of the lesser, you know, the guys that got relegated were you know, easy wins for some of the top tier guys in the division. So these fighters who have proven they can win an entire tournament have gone up from the Hyperfist into the Global MEGAFist. I mean, that's just going to make everything much harder. I mean, everyone's getting better because everyone's fighting more, just getting more time inside the cage.
Yeah, and we're starting to establish a hierarchy. Like the fighters who belong in the Global MEGAFist 12 are starting to find themselves in the Global MEGAFist 12 eventually. And
Beautiful.
you know, again, you said there were fighters who got relegated in last year's fights,
Explode.
but we actually do have one of them making a return in next year's in Guff
Get the
Magazine
stoppage.
at the heavyweight. So again, it's showing that there's always a chance back, and the Tumor of Justice is going forward. He's almost got it, and he's done it.
Stop.
He
Stop.
saved
Fight's over.
it.
Fight's over, guys.
Oh
Tumor
my
of Justice
goodness.
will fight again in next year's Global MEGAFist 12. And for Thaddeus Rose, it is ever so close, but it's another year back to the Hyperfist. What a fight that was. What a finish. It almost looks like it was just exhaustion. It was just both fighters just still going for it until one just didn't have the strength anymore to really to put up the fight for the submission.
Yeah, I mean, Rose tried valiantly, but Tumor of Justice, you know, I don't know what it means, but he is our boat hero. He is surviving into 2021, and maybe this kind of winning momentum will see him through much better in 2021.
It's very possible. It is very possible. We are glad to see the Tumor of Justice continue to make his way into the Global MEGAFist 12 for a 3rd consecutive year. We say that about one of our 2 survival fights. Will it be Paranorman, our host, or will it be newcomer Blue Drummond? We're finding out in just a moment. tape for yet another, let's just put it as interesting matchup. Paranorman, our host, gives up 2 inches in height, and I don't know how to even interpret any of those memories. I'm starting to wonder if that's actually Paranorman speaking.
You ready? Are you ready?
But, you know, we talked about boat ghosts.
Let's fight!
And perhaps they are, in fact, both ghosts. But for those unfamiliar with Blue Drummond, he came up through the Hyper Fist. He made it to the finals, lost to the impossible Robbie Cheadle, but came back and won his elimination fight against Kilgore Crown to make it to this point. And he's already again just dropped by Paranorman, our host. I gotta say, Lizzo, no matter who wins, we're getting an interesting character joining the, or in the ranks of the MEGAFist 12 next year.
Yeah, absolutely. They make things interesting in ways that are sometimes uncomfortable, but always eye-catching, I guess.
And always unpredictable.
Get up on him! Get up on him! Beautiful! Perfect!
I do wonder though. I apologize. Go
no,
ahead.
please go. No, yeah. I was just musing on that as well.
No, I was gonna say. I wonder if Blue Drummond's miming of drowning was maybe what required the services of the Tumor of Justice as the boat hero. Maybe someone went overboard and maybe the Tumor had to save them. Oh, big shots from Paranorman.
Yeah, from the clinch though. I think it was a knee up the middle, but he was just again, he's got a little bit more of a frame that allows his weight to be sort of just imposed upon Blue Drummond. I don't understand, like, Blue Drummond, and I get it, you know, the Blue Man Group, talented, unique artists, musicians, and whatever you want to call them, performers. He's a huge fan of them, which is fine. You know, everyone has favorites of things. He sort of takes it to a weird level. Like, I know I've spoken with him. I have heard words come from his mouth. But then at some points, he just will randomly just go into blue mode. And
Yeah, I've seen him, you know, just in the middle of a conversation, just grab a bucket and start drumming.
Yeah. And I will say, you know, he's not hard to find at the buffet. He's always the one getting people to throw marshmallows into his mouth. So again, it is a talent. I've seen the Blue Man Group do that as well. But you know, that's not sure what sort of advantage or use.
You gonna go win this round? You got to win this round. You win this
If
round.
he can do that and still make the weight limit, then
Try to spin him around.
you know,
Don't let your back sit on
pretty
the
good,
cage,
I
okay?
suppose.
Some more.
I'm
liver
gonna
kicks
guess
working.
that he's not
Everything you're doing
really
is working.
eating all the
He's
marshmallows.
loading
He's
up.
just sort of
He's trying to
catching
take
them
you out
in
with
his
one
mouth.
big shot.
As
Wait till he
they
sets
go.
his feet. Shoot.
I don't really know how to even. It's one of those things where if you see the Blue Man Group do it, it's actually fairly impressive in a weirdly disgusting sort of way. But again, that's something the Blue Man Group does very well in that whole sort of. Yeah, it's just best not to think about it. If you don't know, it's fine. It's probably best. There's no way I'm going to describe it in a way that sounds palatable or interesting.
Absolutely. First round probably went to Paranorman. He had some good solid damage with his striking.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
He or they, I don't know,
Let's fight!
depending on how many ghosts currently are taking residence in Paranorman.
Yes, of course. Yeah, for those unfamiliar, Paranorman, our host, is in fact a television host from the show Ghost Insertion. It's a ghost hunting show where he lets, it's almost like the ghosts are hunting him and he lets them catch him. As he just drops, well, again, talk about catching, I'll pause for a second. Blue Drummond just got dropped with a big combination of punches.
Yeah, nice, solid striking from Paranorman again. Just really knows how to use his hands and feet inside this octagonal structure.
And again, Ghost Insertion is a show where he hunts ghosts and then welcomes them to possess him. And I'm guessing he's got some stragglers, or he doesn't always let them leave, or doesn't always get them to leave. I don't know who the willing party is, but it's one of those things you don't always know who you're talking to, and that's a very strange thing to say when you're talking to Paranorman. So we just find it best not to.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that are contractually required to just speak with Paranorman.
Yeah, we got
but
the
other than that,
but still, yeah,
small talk is kept to a minimum with Paranorman.
which really is it's best. Yeah, small talk with ghosts doesn't really go much of anywhere anyway. It's strange. It's uncomfortable. It's just a good description of life on the Atzapatlan. But here we go with again more dominance on the ground from Paranorman, our host.
Yeah, Blue Drummond is in a lot of trouble here. He's not had too much success so far.
Yeah, again,
Head control,
Drummond,
take the back.
he made his way through the Hyper
That's
Fist.
it. You gotta get this right on the back. Perfect work. He gives you
3-1 TKO, a knockout
That
victory,
cut is
and
nothing,
then another
okay?
knockout victory. Of course, his one loss was a TKO in the second round to the impossible Robbie Cheadle. A fighter he might be in the same group with next year. Okay, so the draw works in that sort of way. You know, the four semifinalists will be split
Finish every
two in each
combination with a
group.
kick.
The
You listen to me? Finish every combination with a kick.
new
Keep the right
fighters
kick
or
on.
the survival fight
Control
fighters in the
range.
case of
Finish
the
with a
Team of
takedown.
Justice,
Sit
will be in another
That's
pot.
close. You don't sit there and judge it, all right?
Paranorman is another
Just keep fighting hard.
Find
If he
those
survives,
punches.
he will
Hey,
be,
and find the knees right after. Get to the body some too, okay? Hey, you want it? You want it? Let's go get it.
extra draw into that group because, you know, this is a fighter that just missed out on last year. If I recall, he just missed out last year on the playoffs. He fell short by just a single point, finished in third place, ahead of
You
Leon
gotta fight your
Pagliacci,
fight.
who again,
You better
we're seeing
take him
just how
down. You
different-
gotta
how
impose
much
your
different
fighters.
can
Are
make.
you ready? Are you ready?
Pagliacci finished fourth in the group last year. This year he is
Let's fight.
undefeated
We got
and
5 minutes.
fighting
We're
for
done.
the
Don't let him walk
championship.
in. Head movement. Hands
Paranorman
up.
is fighting to
Hands up.
stay in.
Keep pressuring him once you get him moving back.
Yeah, Blue Drummond is probably not too happy about the cut. He's not for the damage or anything. Just I'm pretty sure he's not a fan of having all that red all
Yeah,
over
the
his
color
body.
scheme. The color scheme is really messing with him. I think is part of the issue.
Yeah.
And it's
I mean,
really just not a good aesthetic for him, I suppose.
I mean, he's also I just kind of noticed this. Oh, big shots from Paranorman. He is in the red corner. That might be having something to do with his overall difficulties tonight.
I had not thought of that one bit, and yet here we are with that, and you can see some of that blood is smeared onto the shoulder of Paranorman, our host, who has been showing.
That's it.
Oh, big knockout!
Gosh.
Oh! Well, there is no encore for Blue Drummond. Paranorman, our host. I guess he's just gotten renewed for the 2021 season.
The middleweights are surviving tonight. They are not getting relegated.
They are in fact surviving and thriving. Paranorman again, 5th place. He was 2-3 this year. Went 4-1 last year.
A lot of unnecessary
fire.
punishment.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but yes, unnecessary. That is Paranorman, our host, with the big victory. What a win. Well, it is time for our 6th fight of the night, and it is our... Well, it is not Wander Removal versus Oliver Lehman. I beg your pardon on that one. It is actually going to be, it's actually Ed Picayune versus Leon Pagliacci, and it's happening right now. stuck in a submission. He's stuck in a triangle right now, and he's tapping out. And just as you said, and he's got it locked in. Stop.
Gosh!
From Hyperfist qualifier last year to Hyperfist finals to the Global Megafist 12 finals.
How things oh my God!
Going for an armbar, and is able to break the triple lava and taps out lava.
Flattens him out, gets it done. My goodness. A historic battle, the journalist and the sad clown. I mean, you can find Shakespeare writing about this. I mean, this goes back millennia.
Here we go for this, the title fight in the middleweight division. We will have a new champion at middleweight. It will be either Ed Picayune or Ruben Tagayashi. They are practically the same. I'm not entirely certain about the best memory for either of them. I don't know about much of either of those things, but
You ready?
well, no time to no need to think about it too much because we're already at the fight.
Hands up! Hands up!
Yeah, I know
Make 'em
Ed
reach
Picayune
and make 'em
did
pay.
have a boat newsletter he would self-publish.
Yes.
Double that
It
up.
was
Use your right elbow, get up. Bring your right elbow.
the reporting he was doing seemed very
That's it.
important and interesting. I could not keep up with it. It was a lot of it was
Way to work.
financials, and that
Nice,
didn't really
nice.
hold much interest
Ready
for
to
me. But I
move.
guess it's something that
There we go.
he can really dig into.
I guess, yeah, and a lot of nautical
Beautiful.
news, which again, I don't know much about.
Watch for him to grab your leg.
Yeah, a
I
lot
don't
of
know much
talk about
about-
the current.
Yeah, I don't know much about shipping
Yes.
or sailing or
Mix it up. Mix it
being,
up with your punching.
you know, he could have just.
Move it. Right hand behind it.
I think once he
Punch
wrote an
his
expose on
Wow,
Ishmael
wow.
from
Work it now.
Moby Dick, and
Hands
again,
up, chin
I
down.
don't.
Look for position, bro.
There's just too many whaling terms.
There you go, nice. Take it if you got it.
But I will
Going
say
for
he
it.
is an outstanding submission fighter.
Adjust your
This year's
lock.
For a leg
yeah.
lock right here.
You're doing
Nice,
good,
nice of
son.
Pagulachi to
Perfect.
kick away. Gets going for the Imanari roll.
Stretch him out.
Unbelievable, just techniques from these
Just
two.
keep
And
that
again,
pressure, here we
Pagliacci
go.
fairly well-rounded, has had some some submission victories, has knocked out some fighters as well. One of the few fighters that we can really say that about. He's gotten wins in both methods. Picayune
Yep.
primarily
Take him down. Take him down.
submission victories. He slid
Get that
in
double
at
going.
the very last
That's it.
moment with a second round submission victory
Keep moving.
On the last day, it was a lot of times the whole tournament. We were saying it was potentially going to be Gordon Wu,
There it is.
alongside Leon Pagliacci making it out of this group.
Hands up.
But Picayune came on strong where Wu kind of fell apart down the stretch.
Move it. Hands up. Sit
But we
down.
can't-
Yeah,
Nice, nice.
I was just say the entire middleweight
Stay out short with it.
brackets were
There we
great,
go.
great fights. I mean, just
Yeah.
the drama and intrigue as the points
Beautiful.
and everyone shook out in their rankings and ratings. It
It
was fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and out of all of that, we have Leon Pagliacci, who went undefeated, 5-0 in the groups, again 6-0 after defeating Chet Lama via first-round submission in the semifinals.
Good. Okay, he's tired. His legs are tired.
Not a lot of fighters can say they've gone 6-0. He is one of
Now,
two.
on the ground, you can
this
catch him all day long in
year.
that triangle and that armbar. You can catch him all day long in it.
Of course,
You good?
go
Okay.
6-1.
His legs are tired from trying to hold
You're only,
that.
that only makes you a
Push the pace.
finalist. That doesn't make you a champion, unfortunately.
No, absolutely. Pagliacci in a bit of a tough situation with these submission attempts from Picayune, but has survived them all fairly well. I don't think anything got damaged on those leg locks, but sometimes
Yeah.
even a
On
minor
the ground, you can
tear
catch him all
can
day long in that triangle
spell
and that armbar.
disaster
Gentlemen,
later on in a fight.
ready?
Yeah, it's hard to tell
Ready?
this soon, of course, but yeah, we are keeping
Let's
an eye
fight.
on that. We'll keep an eye on it, see how anything, how he reacts to things in this, and he goes right for this. He goes right for the takedown and gets it
Make him more
on
confident than you.
Picayune.
Control his hands.
And again, Pagliacci, we're saying how he's a more well-rounded fighter this year. I'd almost want to try to, if I was him, maybe I'd think to stand up and keep it on the feet at least to avoid those takedowns. But he's confident. He's,
Hands up.
I guess when you're a sad clown with nothing left to lose,
Girl, take the back.
you throw caution to the wind and you just go for what you think you can go for. And again, a sad clown no less. He's got to be confident knowing that he has not tasted defeat in 2020.
Sit down.
Absolutely, and it could be that his leg is a bit compromised, and he feels more confident in defending Picayune submissions versus trying to stand and strike with him.
Oh, perhaps that's a fair point. You really can't tell. We haven't seen him kind of favor it, so we really don't know. But again, a clown is an actor. They are able to hide.
Hide the pain behind
the face paint.
grease paint. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going for the same thought there, I think.
You ready to explode?
We're halfway through this round and this fight, and now Pagliacci has the back and is staying in that position and is hammering down blows onto Picayune, who is weathering the storm and doing his best to not get compromised in any sort of severe way.
Hold his head down.
Yeah, I mean this is a tough spot for Picayune. I mean, Pagliacci is pretty solid at ground and pound, but Picayune looking for a Kimura, it looks like. He can,
Yeah, you just get caught like that.
Yeah, if he can torque that shoulder, but good escape from Leon Pagliacci. He's got to keep landing those big shots from on top, though, to really.
Yeah, it's I guess you almost want to say he's kind of like putting money. They use the term putting money in the bank, for in combat sports a lot, where you sort of build up, whether it's points or you build up damage on your opponent or anything like that. At the very least, he's scoring. He's showing the judges that he's dominating the fight. Not necessarily saying he's fighting for the decision, but as we go to the end of round number 2, he's definitely shown that he has the ability to win this fight.
Gets that back, you
if
fight
he
that
keeps
2-on-1.
at
He
it.
gets that
But
body lock.
Picayune is
You gotta
such
fight
a
it off.
tough out.
And you swim that arm over.
Yeah, he's.
Take a couple deep breaths.
I mean,
look me in the eye.
he's a
It's got
tough,
nothing for you.
seasoned
Straight
reporter.
punches
He's a
like- Now,
tough,
on the ground, you can
not
catch
quite
him
so
all day long in that
seasoned
triangle
fighter.
and that
He's
armbar. You can catch him all day
just come
long.
up from the Hyperfist last year and his first
all day
stint in the Global Megafist, unlike Pagliacci. But he's showing his worth already. I mean, he is a tough guy to get rid of.
Interesting little tidbit to throw out there. Ed Picayune has not been finished. He went undefeated. He was the winner of the Hyperfist last year.
I need you to circle.
You know, he won all 3 fights, including one against 3 Ziegler subset alpha, which is just incredibly impressive. He went 3-2 this year, but both of his losses were by decision. One to Pagliacci, the other to President Jerome Glorioso, which was a bit of a, it turns out to be much of a surprise. That was early on. That was ended up being his only win. He ultimately got relegated. So we're seeing how hard it is to put away Ed Picayune, and the fighter who has not tasted defeat all year is maybe kind of resigning to the fact that he might have to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, but he's got a decision over Picayune, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
He's done it before, yeah. And he's trying to go for that finish, so he's going for what looks like he's trying to fight the hands on maybe a rear naked choke. It's hard to really see, but gives up the back.
You know, we talked about earlier in the night, you know, going for a submission without a plan B if you don't get it is pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm glad she saw there. I mean, he recovered well. He got back to being on top, but
yeah, I think I'd almost want to say this is more of a plan B than we anticipated thought. But he gets caught in a triangle, and Picayune catches him from, I don't know how he got back into. He was in mounted position for a second, but Picayune has it locked in. He's got the tap! He's got the tap!
Holy cow!
From Hyperfist winner,
Picayune.
From Hyperfist winner to Global MEGAFist 12 champion, Ed Picayune puts the first loss in the column for Leon Pagliacci in the finals. What a fight! Credit to both of these fighters. But congratulations to Picayune, who came on the scene, went 3-2 in the group stage, but got 2 big wins when he needed them.
Breaking news, we have a champion at middleweight. It is Ed Picayune from the Hyperfist, knocking off Leon Pagliacci. Wow, that is...
I feel like I almost need to go and read that newsletter now, just to kind of get a... I don't know, just to sort of. I just feel like I should, just so I know.
Yeah, just to see what he writes up about his own fight, his own win.
Yeah, there could be a lot of good report on this, on all of these fights. But nonetheless, wow, what a. Well, that is 2 divisions down. It only means there's 1 division left to go. And it is the heavyweights. And we start with 2 big, huge survival fights. Grant Clado versus Gabe Donahue. That fight is happening right now. we go. Tale of the tape for two very, very different fighters. Gabe Donahue gets a 1-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage, 10-pound weight advantage. I don't think you can say it too often about him. His best memory was the talent show, and why wouldn't it be? He did a very, very lengthy puppetry display. As for Grant Clay-Doh, his best memory is being off the grid, which I can understand. For those who are not familiar with Grant Clay-Doh, he is a retired drill sergeant, was sent on a secret mission. Of course, we cannot talk about it, and he was, he is full of shrapnel. He is just full, and you can even see it just kind of protruding from him, or bulging. And it's very unsettling, and he immediately just catches Donahue with a couple big shots. Oh, this should be over quickly. Donahue scrambles, though.
Oh, wow. He is. I'm surprised Donahue survived those. Those were some heavy blows.
I would have to agree. Donahue. Wow. Well, again, Gabe Donahue, went 1-4 last year, 2-3 this year. Grant Clay-Doh made it to the, made it just short of the fight that gets you into the Global MEGAFist 12. He lost to Meat Eater Marty. He actually, his two losses in the Hyperfist last year are to the current, are to the two fighters that made it into the Global MEGAFist, Meat Eater Marty Sweats and Handsome Jeff Perkins. However, he did a lot better in the Hyperfist this year, ultimately making it to that same place. His only loss was to Guff Magnuson. Again, he was almost going for a repeat, and then instead got the win. So he's at this point and is now fighting a triangle choke from Gabe Donahue, who's shown a little bit more fire this year. 2 wins compared to 1, but still finds himself in 5th place.
Yeah, it shows the improvement that, 2 wins are still not enough to avoid potential relegation.
And I know last year, there are some that is the case, but the heavyweights again. We saw some spread out results, and Gabe Donahue 2-3. The first through 4th all went 3-2. So again, we're talking about having some evenly matched groups. The heavyweight group A was definitely one of them.
Yeah, a lot of parity. It's really good to see that there's. I mean, of course, the flip side, you have a guy like Oliver Lehman who just knocks out everything he touches. But on the other side of the bracket, anyone can win any fight. It's not a given. Now that's what makes things interesting.
Yeah, in the final 4 of the heavyweight bracket, I believe we had only 2 of last year's final semifinalists. Dr. Igor Tonic losing in the semifinals. He ended up winning the whole thing last year. Lehman has made it to the finals. He made it about the same. He made it, I believe, the same length last year as well. And again, the two semifinalists, Fritz Milgram and Lonnie Fescue, ended up finishing 3rd and 4th in Group A. So again, those are 2 fighters that someone like Gabe Donahue had to do battle with as well. So again, sometimes that draw can just be brutal.
When you go jab blow, come back with the jab.
We're seeing just how difficult it really can be.
Ready?
And then you get a fighter like Grant Clay-Doh that you have to fight to survive the tournament.
Yeah, this is
no easy fights.
Very tough draw. We always talk about Donahue having a tough go of it being one of the shorter and just overall lighter heavyweights. Clay-Doh's even smaller. I mean, he does have the added advantage of, hunks of metal in his body to put a little more pop on his punches, but
yeah, it almost makes you wonder if he would actually be a middleweight were it not for all the hunks of metal that are just lodged into his person as he drops Donahue. Well, I don't know if that was metal or if that was just metal as in a different spelling of it, which it sounded better in my head. It looks better on paper. But Grant Clay-Doh joins the ranks of the heavyweight Global MEGAFist 12 next year.
Impressive win from Grant. Although part of me is just kind of disappointed that we won't have two military heroes on the global Megafist roster, because if I'm not mistaken, the good rear sergeant did not survive our relegation.
I mean, he's alive, yes, but he did get relegated to the Hyper Fist as of this year. But well, it'll be a suitable replacement. We'll have to see if the sergeant feels that Granite Grant is a suitable ally, replacement. I don't know what you would call it, but I'm sure the good rear sergeant will have some words to describe Granite Grant in congratulations. But we have our other survival fight happening right now. Damian Adder versus Dr. Cardio Van Hart. Tail of the tape for our final survival fight. Who will be the 12th entry into next year's Global Megafist 12 tournament? Will it be Dr. Cardio Van Hart, who gives up a lot of height and reach to Damian Adder? I'm uncomfortable by what I'm reading on the right side, but early morning workouts, sure. You know, I don't sleep well, so I just sort of take sleep when I can get it. Good for Dr. Cardio Van Hart for the for his early morning workouts. I guess he was leading them or doing them, or you know, if that's what works. We have a gym that is obviously open to those on here. You can see some of the crew sort of getting a workout in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Damian Adder, I do believe he did spend a lot of time. I guess sunbathing would be the correct term, just out on the deck of the Axapadlin.
Yeah.
He said he needed to warm his core temperature, and I'm pretty sure he got sunburned a little bit badly, so that might be what he's referring to as molting.
You know, I was gonna guess it was like what he calls cutting weight, but again, heavyweights don't need to.
Yeah, of course he with the winter months, you know, coming up, he has been spending more time just kind of down by the boilers to maintain his body temperature, which he is a warm-blooded human man. He does not need to do that. His body can just do that on its own. He doesn't need to absorb heat in that way.
You feel like, I mean, again, we are not sure where we are, but we did start in Missouri, which, again, not going to say a lot about their athletic commission or lack thereof.
Come on,
but
move it, let your hands go.
You'd think that if a man was not warm-blooded,
To the outside.
that would have come up before he was entered into the amateur mixed martial arts tournament. So again, I don't see any reason to believe
Press forward.
that this man would be
Pop the hands.
cold-blooded in the literal sense.
Yeah, I think he just is such a big fan of and identifies so strongly with snakes that he, you know, it's probably a psychosomatic thing at this point where he has convinced himself that this is what he needs. Against
you know what?
all
Sure.
medical and scientific evidence.
Sure. I've told myself, I've convinced myself of stranger things on this ship, so why not? What's one that would be ranking on a 6 on the scale of 1 to 10 of strange?
Yeah, I mean, I've convinced myself that we were at one point carried, you know, over the Appalachian Mountains at one point.
Well, you were telling me about that. And I mean, I gotta say, like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist in any sort of way, but the evidence that you did not present like conspiracy level evidence. You presented some pretty concrete evidence that made it look like this boat was actually carried.
Try to spin him around. Don't let your back sit on the cage, okay?
I can't.
Some more. Bent knees,
I can't fathom how that works, but I feel like I believed you.
Yeah, I mean, everything I was looking at, or all observable evidence showed that we had made a drastic change in, you know, where we were the night before to where we were the next day. That's the only reasonable explanation I could fathom, but
yeah. I mean, again, you know, you don't traverse.
You gotta fight your fight. You gotta take him down. You gotta impose your will.
You're not saying anything obvious by saying that boats clearly cannot traverse land, but I mean,
let's go, guys.
Sometimes
Fight.
you just have to accept that, you know, you don't have answers to things like that. But again, here we go, round 2. Dr. Cardio Van Hart, for those unfamiliar, he did make an appearance in last year's HyperFist tournament. But he did make it all the way to that second chance fight. And in the elimination bracket, of course, their double elimination, he made it as far as he made it to the 3rd round last year. He got 1 win, but ultimately went 1 and 2. Different reversal of fortune this year. And he's a fitness.
Stop.
And he's going to get a win.
oh my
He's going to pound out Damian Adder. And I guess we have more time next year to learn about Dr. Cardio Van Hart. I understand he makes his own workout tapes. They're very strangely similar to more popular ones, but they're featuring him, and he sells them out of the back of his car. But I guess he can't do that now, but he can, well, he's put a good workout in on the face of Damian Adder, and ultimately the referee had to call off the fight as he was not defending himself.
Yeah, he was landing some heavy ground and pound consistently. And finally, Damian Adder went out. That was
brutal.
That was some good shots.
A fairly one-sided battle, but Dr. Cardio Van Hart will join Rennet Grant Cueto and, of course, Professor Andre Carson and Guff Magnuson returning to the heavyweight division in 2021. Those are the 4 that have made it from the HyperFist. But Lucille, we have 1 more fight left to go in the year 2020. And it is coming up in just a moment. It is our heavyweight final. Wanderin' Mo Volt, can he pull off the upset against the 6-0 in this year? Oliver Lehman, we're finding out in just a moment. Uncomfortable to watch and yet so beautiful to see.
The ref, I don't know what the ref was waiting for. In open space.
Got the mount though. Oh my God! 10 seconds to go!
The strength in that man. He's looking a lot better this year than he was last year. It's kind of strange what he was doing to his body last year.
marksman. Oh my goodness! Oh, it just took one shot. Oh. Oh my God! Are at the main event. Bolt versus Lehman, a first-time battle between these two. A slight height, weight, and reach advantage, just barely, goes to Oliver Lehman. Body type definitely different across the two. And again, Bolt's best memory was the buffet. Oliver Lehman says his best memory was investing. I don't know what sort of investing he was doing. I don't know if he was investing in boats or what he was doing, but yeah.
If he could get any kind of like cell signal to make these investments, and because Derek, you and I were both pretty much on no bars.
Yeah.
I think other than when you found that that one
voicemail,
brief moment with Michael Oleander. I don't know, maybe would Oliver Lehman be the kind of guy to have like a satellite phone just for stock trading? He probably would, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
And probably charge the other people on the boat to like use it to contact family members.
I mean, that seems like the kind of thing that he would do. This all sounds plausible. I don't really.
Yeah, I'm not trying to accuse anything, but it's. I mean, I'm just saying what seems to make sense to me. If he loved investing on the Aztapatlan.
Yeah, invest away. I mean, again, who knows? We've done some, being on this ship for this long, it makes you do some crazy things and think some crazy things. So, if he just was, if he went like full, delusional and was pretending he was stock trading, but was actually just talking to a seagull, I'd believe that too.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to Ed Picayune, maybe he's going to have an expose in his next edition of the newsletter and get to the bottom of Oliver Lehman's investment.
I think that would be a profile on potentially a champion. Again, Oliver Lehman, easily this year one of the most dominant fighters across any weight class. He scored he scored a 27 out of a possible 30 points in the group stage. Went 5-0, knows how to knock people out, made quick work, did not make quick work, but had a struggle, won in the last 11 seconds over handsome Jeff Perkins. Made it to the semifinals last year, fell to Fitz Milgram. But on the other side, Wanderer Revolt is almost this everyman underdog story. Went 2-3 last year. to 4-2 this year and finished top of the group and pulled off an upset over last year's winner, Dr. Igor Tonic.
Yeah, that was an incredible run that Wander Movolt has been on this year. You know, we've speculated that it's helped in part by not following the jam band scene, jam band circuit, which he normally does basically all year, as far as I'm aware. You know, just in a van or maybe in some sort of vehicle going from venue to venue.
Stop backing him up.
And it's not much of a healthy lifestyle. And somehow eating a buffet 3 meals a day is an improvement for Wander Movolt.
Yeah, again, yeah, that's kind of it's the strangest of logic, but it seems to be accurate, and it seems to be 100% what has happened to Wanderin Movolt. And I mean, you talk about, you know, someone whose life might have been actually just improved upon via the.
Hey, that's close. You don't sit there and judge it, all right?
The hellish life that we now exist upon on the Atzapatlan. You know, it may not be. He may miss his jam band lifestyle, but I think for his, you know, his quality of life, he might have actually might actually be improving upon it.
Yeah, it might have been a change forced upon him that ultimately benefited him.
You know, you hear about folks who go through that sort of lifestyle change and things like that, and yeah, that's 100% something that you often see, and if you're kind of forced upon it, you know, could put a couple extra years onto your life. And for Wander Movolt, he's become, I mean, the guy's got a couple great upset victories in the tournament too. He got a victory over Handsome Jeff Perkins, over Dr. Igor Tonic. You know, again, he fell to Lonnie Fescue early on, fell to Fritz Milgram, but those are two fighters that made it, I believe, to the semifinals last year. So again, those are tough fights, but he really figured things out.
As you said, Milgram is one of the few men to have put a loss on Lehman's record last year.
Yeah, Milgram is yeah, exactly. Milgram and Tonic, Fritz Milgram and Dr. Igor Tonic, the only two fighters who have been able to defeat Oliver Lehman. Can Wanderin Movolt be the third? I'm not saying it was easy, but we're saying that literally anything can happen when we're on the Atzapatlan.
Oh, absolutely. Not to play MMA math too much, but I mean, Volt has a victory over Dr. Igor Tonic, and you know,
you can talk transitive wins, yeah, 100%. I mean, it's only so many different combinations of fights you can play out, but you can easily you can make the argument.
100%. But gosh, I mean, you want to? I want to say Lehman has been so dominant, but you know, we just saw the other 6-0 fighter. Leon Patrick fall. So again, anything is possible on the Atzapatlan, especially in amateur MMA.
Yeah. Again, so many fighters. You don't want to call them one-sided, but fighters tend to have such a specialty that they focus on, or they have one strategy. You know, they're not as well-rounded because they don't have that level of training. But yeah, it's definitely something to be wary of. And again, we're seeing he's going for a submission, something we've only recently seen. He did tap out Dr. Igor Tonic in the semifinal. He's going for the arm triangle, and that is the end of the round. It is ever so close.
Take a couple deep breaths.
Not enough time to finish it, but surprising that he locked it in. That could have pushed the edge for Wander Movolt on the judges' scorecards.
Yeah, well, we do head to round 3. The final round of the Global MEGAFist 12 for 2020. And, you know, we don't really know what happens from here. To our knowledge, we'll have a 21-1 tournament. We have heard nothing otherwise. But once again, we still have one more round to go. We could have a winner.
Working. Everything you're doing is working.
Okay, fighters, are you ready?
A decision.
Are you ready?
We will have a brand new champion, as Dr. Igor Tonic was defeated in the semifinals. But here we go, Wanderin Movolt and Oliver Lehman, the third round. Not something we see too often for Lehman, and Lehman has dropped Bolt over a couple of combinations, and it's over. He has done it.
Gosh, he just uncorks that power, and I don't think anyone can take. God, that is a devastating man.
So vicious to see. Who in the world it can? Well, we know who can beat him, but in 2020, no one has been proven able to beat the 7-0 in this calendar year heavyweight champion Oliver Lehman. Goes into round 3 for what I believe is only, well, the third. Looking at my notes here, only the third time ever. Once last year. Twice this year against Jeff Perkins and Wander Mavol. Not many fighters have lasted that long with Lehman. So that is to be completely lauded by Wander and Mavol to last that long and to have a shot at it. You got to wonder if maybe he had a little bit more time if he would have, in fact, had a chance at that submission. But, wow, wow, I don't even, I'm kind of at a loss for words, Lucille. We have a winner. I think it's time to go over our results for the night. And we're going to start with the lightweight division. Harvey Murkoff and Preston Groom. First round victories over Ruben Fontan and McGinnis Swordhouse, respectively. They will be part of the Global MEGAFist 12 in the lightweight division. Next year, they will join JC Switcher and Charlie Valentine. Switcher, our two-time lightweight champion. I'm excited for that lightweight division next year.
Yeah, I mean, who can dethrone Switcher? I mean, he's had a few losses in the group stages, but once it comes time for the tournament itself, the playoff, however you want to phrase it, that guy gets to another level, and he is a tough one to beat. And
do or die, he does.
Yeah, I just feel so sorry for Charlie Valentine. Third bite at the apple, can't finish the show. Just unable to get past the hurdle that is JC Switcher. That's tough mentally for anyone.
Yeah, and again, doing it at the final stage, he should be proud of that. But you're absolutely right; he will be focused on that, I'm sure, and that's very unfortunate to think of. But an outstanding effort for Charlie Valentine, just missing out on the playoffs last year, making it all the way to the finals this year. It's a huge improvement. And in the middleweight division, we have Thaddeus Rose, the Tumor of Justice, and Blue Drummond and Paranorman, our host. The Hyperfist fighters did not make it into the field this year out of the middleweights. It's just funny how it works out that way, but the Tumor of Justice and Paranorman, our host, found some of their 2019 form, and they will join us once again in the group stage next year, joined by Leon Pagliacci, and of course for his second year running, but his first as a defending champion, Ed Picayune. What a fight that was.
Oh, absolutely. An amazing fight. And, we don't see any new Hyperfist fighters in middleweight for 2021, but a former Hyperfist fighter is the champion for 2020 middleweight division, Ed Picayune. He's submitted, he took 3 Ezekiel subset alpha to a decision in the Hyperfist, but he submitted 3 Ezekiel this season. He submitted the undefeated Leon Pagliacci. If this guy gets you on the ground, you are in for a rough night.
No doubt about it. It's again, went 3-2 in the group stage. However, again, another thing where it's like when it mattered, he got the victories he needed. And I don't think anyone will be underestimating him in next year's tournament. I think people have figured out this guy is for real. He is dangerous. Most importantly, he is difficult to put away. Still yet to be finished in amateur MMA, in Hyperfist or Global MEGAFist 12, which is a stat that very few can say.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so many people have, solid knockout power, solid submission skills, but Picayune has skirted it all.
Yeah, he's got the submission skills. and he has the ability to stay in fights, which is just as important, if not more important. And moving over to the heavyweight division, Granite Grant Clado and Dr. Cardio Van Hart, both from the Hyperfist, make their way into the field next year at the expense of Gabe Donahue and Damian Adder. Great fights there, both second round TKOs. But Oliver Lehman, the only fighter, I believe, I don't think we have anyone that did that last year, the only fighter to go undefeated in the entirety of a tournament. Fritz Milgram came up short last year, just like Leon Pagliacci did this year. And Rob Lynn fell in the semifinals last year, so the only ever person to do that is Oliver Lehman.
Wow, that's impressive, and for who it was to do it, I mean,
yeah,
it's honestly a shock that Lehman has lost ever. He is so dangerous, so devastating. His power stays all 3 rounds.
Yeah, and you got to imagine he's only going to get scarier and more dangerous.
Oh, absolutely, and his mental toughness. I mean, the handsome Jeff Perkins fight. He was potentially looking at a loss and just gritted it out, stuck with it, landed those bombs to punch his ticket to the finals. And, Wandered Movalt was having some success. He was not looking bad, but Lehman just, I mean, it was 15 seconds into the third round.
It was like a switch. It was like a switch got flipped.
Yeah, it's
as easy as that. Yeah.
I'm finished playing around. It's time to end it. And Lehman ends things violently.
Yeah, we're gonna forget. It should hopefully not be forgotten that Volt had a submission that looked pretty tight. Again, we've never seen, to my knowledge, I don't believe we've ever seen Lehman lose via submission, but Volt had something in very tight. But the end of that round came just in time and allowed it to start on the feet, as all fights do. And that was when Lehman just said, "Okay, I'm not going to let myself get in that position again." You can't imagine. You have to be, only fighters that don't respect an opponent after something like that would be a foolish one. And I don't think Oliver Lehman is a foolish fighter when you think about it, because he wouldn't have that kind of success. So I want to say he has to give a little bit of credit to Volt in that instance by doing that and saying, well, no, that has to happen. I need to put this away now. But that is how that ends. And there you have it, our 2020 champions. What a motley crew that is. JC Switcher, only ever 2-time champion. Oliver Lehman, undefeated, the only ever undefeated fighter to make it through the tournament with no losses, winning the whole thing. And Ed Picayune, in his first year, after coming through the Hyperfist, wins it. I mean, that's some history across the board.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to be incredibly tough to dethrone next year. I know it's not exactly, that simple. It's, there's the seeding and brackets and whatnot. Getting a victory over some of these guys is going to be tough, especially if they can make it the playoffs. They're devastating and dangerous in unique ways. You don't want to get on the ground with Ed Picayune. JC Switcher is an excellent kickboxer, perfect timing, perfect, range management. And then Oliver Lehman, he's not wild, but his power is it's a game changer. No one has really been able to withstand his power consistently. 100%.
I would have to agree with you absolutely with that. These are some difficult opponents. If you are a fighter in the Global MEGAFist 12 and you flip the coin and you're in the group with one of these fighters, you're already going to have a difficult time getting to the top 2. You almost want to just, start planning where you're going to get your points elsewhere, because these are tough fighters in their own way. But that is going to do it for us. That's the Global MEGAFist 2020, the Global MEGAFist 12 for the year 2020. It's not going to lie, Lucille, this is not how I anticipated the tournament to go. in the sense that we are still on a riverboat that I don't know where it is. None of us do. This time last year, we were in the Nougaty Center in Branson, Missouri, crowning our champions for the first time. Dr. Igor Tonic, JC Switcher, and it was Dale Branston. And now we're on a riverboat.
I hope. Are we going to be let off anytime soon? I mean, have you heard anything from any rumors? I've not heard anything. I can't. Derek, I can't do
no
much.
no bars. Let's just look. You know, it's been a long tournament. It's been a long time on here. Just get some fresh air. Let's see if we can kind of get our bearings and figure out what happens now. I mean, the tournament's over. In theory, we get to go home. I don't know what direction that means we have to do this in. Look, we've got a whole bunch of fighters on this ship. There's the two of us. There's the crew. We can pull our heads together. Let's just go out, get some fresh air. Okay, let's kind of head there and take a deep breath, get a breath of fresh air, and figure this out. Okay.
All right.
Well, again, we're gonna take these mics with us and just kind of stay with us. We've got some mobile mics that if we actually wanted to interview the fighters, we could, but we got social distancing. We're gonna kind of keep our put our masks on again. I don't know how to do this since the Florislava days. Yeah, well, we'd like to thank you all for joining us, how you're watching this. I don't know how the signal is being beamed around, but yeah, Lucille Crammelcorn, I'm Derek Osceola. For a brief moment, we've heard the voice of Michael Oleander in the form of a voicemail and a phone call from me, and it's funny. Lucille, I don't have a signal, but I just got a... Is your phone getting a Wi-Fi network that it can connect to? Like the little thing where it says, hey, you can connect to this, you just need to put a password in? Because I've never seen... Okay, we need to figure this... Okay, Lucille, I'm seeing the name of that network. Where are we?